Thank you for taking some time for yourself. Yeah, it's perfectly okay. You don't have to do anything right now. Not a single thing. You don't even have to listen carefully. Not even follow along, because your unconscious mind will naturally hear everything in its own way. And really, it's completely understandable. If some days feel heavier than others, if mornings feel like a mountain, if your mind just doesn't want to cooperate, that's perfectly human. And you don't have to fix it. Not now. Not ever. You don't have to do this alone. Oh no, not at all. You don't have to feel pressured or like you're falling behind, because it's perfectly okay to simply be here just as you are. And you certainly don't have to think about all of the important historical figures or celebrities who have experienced major depressive disorder. Winston Churchill, pacing his halls with his black dog. Nah, not necessary. J.K. Rowling, staring at a blank page, feeling the weight of rejection. Totally optional. Vincent van Gogh, Sylvia Plath, Ernest Hemingway, Adele, Lady Gaga, Demi Lovato, Emma Stone, Shawn Mendes, Isaac Newton, Charles Darwin, Thomas Edison, all those people. You don't have to think about them at all. You certainly don't have to visualize them. Isn't it nice to know that none of that effort is required? And yet, even without trying, something may begin to happen. You may notice, or not, a subtle release, a gentle easing of heaviness, a quiet awareness that you're not defined by your sadness. In fact, there's a part of yourself that's always known how to respond naturally, effortlessly, on its own. You don't need to control your thoughts. You don't need to analyze your feelings. You don't need to push anything away. It isn't necessary to understand it. And yet somehow you might begin to notice that there is a thread of resilience a quiet strength, just waiting, as it always has, to guide you forward. And isn't it funny? You don't have to imagine yourself rising above the heaviness. You don't have to picture your own strength. It can just happen all by itself. As naturally as breathing. Lady Gaga doesn't have to teach you anything. Demi Lovato doesn't need to show you how it's done. And Adele certainly doesn't need your permission, because your mind already knows how to do it all on its own. You don't have to take any credit for it. Nah. Not for noticing that thread of resilience. Not for feeling a little calmer. Not for realizing that even in your own heaviness, a quiet spark is always there. And it doesn't require any effort. You don't need to do anything. It will just happen naturally, without even trying. And perhaps in this effortless state, time may stretch or shrink. Moments may float past. You may even notice that something has shifted. That quiet, stubborn inner strength. It's yours, just as it's always been. Just like it belonged to Leo Tolstoy, Charles Dickens, Mark Twain, Nikola Tesla, Sigmund Freud, Ryan Reynolds, Jim Carrey, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Billy Eilish, Sam Smith, Michael Phelps, Serena Williams, and Ronda Rousey, and all the others you don't have to think about. And as you continue to drift, not knowing, not doing, just allow yourself to feel that thread of resilience. Allow it to grow. Allow it to guide you. You don't need to do anything to make it happen. It just will, naturally, all on its own. And you don't even need to notice it, unless of course you want to. Did you know Abraham Lincoln had once what we now recognize as major depressive disorder? Even though the term didn't exist back then, people described it as melancholy deep and persistent sadness that shadowed his life. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, led the nation from 1861 to 1865, a time when the country was torn apart by civil war. The Union was fractured, families and communities divided, and the question of freedom for millions of enslaved people hung heavy over the land. Lincoln's presidency was defined by enormous responsibility, difficult decisions, and the constant pressure of guiding a nation through its darkest hours. Abraham Lincoln, tall and solemn, often carried a weight unseen by those around him. Some mornings, he awoke with a heaviness pressing down on his chest, a fog in his mind that made the simplest tasks feel monumental. The sunlight filtering through the window seemed distant, almost unreal. He would lie beneath the covers, feeling trapped inside his own body, as if the world had moved on without him. Getting out of bed felt like lifting a mountain. Even speaking or thinking clearly required enormous effort. This melancholy was a constant companion, a shadow that followed him through the quiet halls of his home and the bustling corridors of government. It whispered doubts and fears, convincing him that his mind was weak, that his burdens were too great. Yet, within this darkness, Lincoln discovered small sparks of resilience. Slowly, deliberately, he forced himself to rise, to dress, to step into the world, even when each moment felt exhausting, as if he were dragging his spirit along behind him. He spent long nights walking alone, pacing in silence, the cold winter biting at his face, trying to shake free the numbness and gloom. In these solitary moments, he confronted his despair head-on, acknowledging it without letting it define him. He realized that while he couldn't always control the turmoil of his mind, he could choose how to respond, how to act, and how to move forward despite the weight pressing down on him. Lincoln's depression never fully left him, but it shaped him into a man of profound empathy, patience, and insight. The heaviness he felt in the quiet mornings became a reminder of his humanity. And each small step he took, from rising out of bed to addressing the nation, was an act of courage. Through the darkness, he discovered that resilience wasn't the absence of struggle, but the decision to continue despite it, even in the most oppressive moments of despair. Lincoln found a way to lead, to endure, and to believe in the power of his own choices. You don't have to do anything about what you just heard. Not a single thing. You don't need to push the feelings away or analyze them or even try to understand them. In fact, it isn't necessary to know what to feel at all. And yet somewhere, without your conscious effort, you might notice a gentle release, a subtle letting go, a catharsis that happens naturally, all on its own. You don't have to force anything, not even calm. The heaviness, the worry, the tension, you don't have to hold on to them. You don't have to resist them. And you don't need to fully feel them either. And while you don't need to, you may find that without trying, your mind begins to distance itself from the weight, a little disassociation, a gentle step back, noticing the heaviness without being defined by it. It can happen automatically because the mind has a way of taking care of itself without your effort. And maybe without trying, you'll notice a shifting in perspective, a dimensional change, if you like, a way that the memory of heaviness, of challenge, of struggle can be seen differently. You don't need to force this. You don't need to reframe anything. Consciously, and yet without knowing it, your mind may begin to amplify a sense of resilience, a quiet strength, a thread of courage, as Lincoln did, allowing this alternate representation to become clearer, naturally, effortlessly. You don't have to remember everything you've experienced, not the struggles, not the heaviness, not even the light. It isn't important, and yet your mind can restructure focus, selecting what is helpful, shifting memory content in ways that serve you, without you needing to direct it. You may even notice that little by little resources you have, patience, insight, courage, begin to emerge more clearly. And that happens entirely on its own. And now, without needing to try, your mind can move forward along the timeline of your life. Age progression, if you like. Bringing that same quiet courage into your future self, your older self, calmer, wiser, stronger. And you don't need to picture it perfectly. You don't have to do anything. And yet that new resource can attach itself to you, ready to be accessed whenever it is needed, effortlessly, naturally. And in the days, weeks, or months to come, you won't even have to think about accessing this calm, this clarity, this resilience will simply be there. A post-hypnotic gift that your unconscious mind already knows how to use without your needing to remember to do anything. You may notice later that even small challenges bring this inner strength forward automatically, just as it's been waiting all along. And now, in a moment, you can allow yourself to gently return, not needing to rush, not needing to do anything, just letting your body, your senses, your mind find the way back to the present. You may feel a little lighter, a little freer, a little more capable. Or perhaps you won't even notice immediately. and that's perfectly fine. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, let them open naturally, bringing with you all of that calm, all of that quiet strength, all of that effortless resilience, without needing to do anything at all. And it will remain quietly, always available whenever you need it. Welcome back. You're perfect, just as you are.